everyone, welcome back. It is time for my weekly Shop My Stash. As always, I'm going to go through what I used last week and then we will pick out what to use this week. So last week I was using this Fairy Tale palette by Ccolor Cosmetics. It's a dupe for the Too Faced Clover palette. This is what it looks like here. I really like this palette. I have not been disappointed by any of the Ccolor palettes that I have. The mattes blend beautifully. The shimmers are really nice. Just an all-around really great palette and super affordable. I also was using this Revolution Wild Animal Integrity palette. And, whoops. This is what it looks like on the inside. Beautiful palette in here, and I was close to decluttering it this week. The mattes are a little bit patchy, a little bit hard to work with, but the shimmers are the saving grace in this palette, and I'll keep it for that because they are just absolutely beautiful. But yeah, the mattes definitely not something I'll reach for, but the shimmers for sure I will, and then I'll just supplement it with another palette to finish off a look. The third palette that I had been using this week was the JCat Beauty Extreme Access palette, and it's just a very simple palette. It's nice. I like it. The mattes are really nice in it. It's what I kind of used with this palette this week to create looks when I got frustrated with the mattes in the Wild Animal palette. But yeah, really pretty and enjoyed this. Nothing too spectacular about it, but I was happy to have it this week because it worked out well with the Wild Animal palette. And this is something that I've been using for the last couple of months now. I really wanted to start using it to try and pan it, and every time I've used it, I noticed at first that my eyes were getting slightly itchy, and so it's continued, and it's every time I wear this palette now. I can't wait to get my eye makeup off at the end of the day because my eyes are bothering me so much. It's had some love, not a ton, and I don't want to get rid of it because it was a pricey palette, and it's one of those things I probably should never have bought. I bought it because of the hype. I was never super interested in the colors in here. Although now I'm getting more into it. I'm realizing that either there's something in it that is aggravating my eyes, or maybe these shadows have started to go bad. It did only have a 6-month shelf life, which is not very long as far as eyeshadows go. So, I mean, I don't usually adhere to those kind of things, but when it's starting to make my eyes itch, and it seems to be this palette in particular that's doing it, it's probably time to let this go. So I guess that's just a thing for me to remember as well, to always be interested in what I'm actually picking up so that I use it, because yeah, this was like $60 Canadian, something like that, so it wasn't cheap. The rest of the things that I used, I had these two concealers. I had the Revolution Pro Ultimate Coverage Crease Proof Concealer. This is in the shade C5. This is really thick and very full coverage. It's very comparable to the It Cosmetics by Undereye. So if you're looking for a cheaper alternative, I would highly recommend checking this one out. And then I had the e.l.f. Camo Concealer here, and this is in the shade Medium Sand, and I like this one as well. They're just two different consistencies completely, so it depended on what I was feeling like that and what I kind of needed that day that I used them. I have the Revolution Beauty I Heart Revolution Snowflake Heart Highlighter. It's just a really pretty white, well, it's more of an off-white kind of highlighter here. What other highlighters do we use? I have the colored Raine highlighter, and this is in the shade No Flash Needed. This one's pretty too, and it's kind of like almost like a banana colored highlighter there. And then I had this Fairtrade Coffee palette by Wet n Wild. This is no longer available, but no reason I shouldn't use it. It's got the blush, the bronzer, and the highlighter in here. I've used these multiple times and I really enjoy them. I have the I Heart Revolution blush, and this is the, what is it? Pop My Cherry shade. And some people were asking, and yes, this goes on very, very dark if you're not careful. You can, if you use a very light hand, and I used a stipple brush with it, you can get it to go on fairly light and it's workable. But yeah, if you go too crazy with it, you will definitely get, what do they call it, clown face? Yeah, that will happen if you aren't careful with this. We have the Wet n Wild ColorIcon blush, and this is in Apricot in the middle. Don't know if I need to open it, but that's what it looks like. Hard to see with the lighting here. I was using this NYX No Filter finishing powder. Then one of my favorite bronzers is the I Heart Revolution Chocolate Heart Bronzer. It's just for winter time. I can't use this in the summer because it doesn't show up, but it's just the most beautiful bronzer for me. I love how it blends. I love how it looks on my skin. Again, I can only usually wear it in the winter time, but I love it for this time of year, that's for sure. And then I have this liquid highlighter. I'm trying to use them a little bit more. This is the Revolution Beauty one, and this is in the shade Lustre Gold. It's really pretty as well. I wouldn't say it's super over the top compared to the Cover FX ones that they had out, or they probably still have them out, but that were popular a couple of years ago. Not quite as intense as that, but I think this is even more wearable than those ones. I had a couple of those, and they weren't for me. And although I am not a big cream or liquid highlighter person by any means, this is really pretty on the skin, and I feel, again, much more wearable than the Cover FX ones because they aren't that intense, but they are super beautiful. Okay, if you are new here, how I pick my eyeshadow palettes is I use random number generator. I have all of my palettes listed and numbered, and what I do is I use random number generator. I pick 3 palettes every week, and I don't reuse a palette until I've gone through my entire collection at least once. That way everything gets used at least one time before I'm moving on to something else. And I find it's a lot easier for me to declutter things at the end of the week if I'm not liking them, because I've used them kind of for that week, and I don't know, I'm not holding on to them that much. I'm kind of forced to use them, and if I don't want to use it, I'm not enjoying it, there's no point in keeping it in my collection. So that is what I do. So I did that already. The palettes that came up would be number 128, and it is the Sugar Crystals palette by Violet Voss. And also we had the Tarteist Pro, which is number 41. And then we have another Ccolor Cosmetics one, and it would be number 3. And this is number 125 of my palettes. Okay, now for concealers, I'm going to pick this Kokie one. This is the Illuminating Concealer, and this is in the shade Medium Beige. I'd like to pick one kind of liquidy one and one kind of creamy one. So for this week, for the creamy one, or like the thicker one, I am going to pick the IT Cosmetics by Undereye. This is just a sample size here, and this is in the shade... Do we have a shade? Oh, there it is. Light Natural. And I always pick a finishing powder as well. I have a couple here, and I have a couple over there. Okay, for finishing powder, I'm going to be using my Hourglass Ambient Lighting palette. And then for setting powder, I'm going to be using this Bare Minerals, what is it? The Matte and Glow duo that they have. Okay, moving on to face palettes. There's quite a few in here. I always get a little overwhelmed by this particular drawer. So, okay, so I'm going to pull this for the bronzer, and this will be the bronzer that I use this week. I'm not going to use the eyeshadows, but I'll use that for the bronzer. And then I'm going to use the NYX palette here as my blush palette. We'll go up here and we'll pick some actual highlighters. I don't think we need any other blushes. I think we're pretty good for that. But highlighters, I think I will pick 3. I'm going to take this one because I haven't used it in a while, and I've been trying to use more cream products. If I don't like it this week, I will declutter it. It's the Benefit, what is it? What's Up highlighter. It's a stick highlighter. And then I will also choose, let's see. You know what? We're going to use this one. This is the Vanilla Quartz by Becca. And I think I'll pick this IBY one as well. This is in the shade Radiant Glow. I think that's what it's called. Prosecco, maybe, Radiant Glow. Not sure, but we'll pick this one as well. And then I think I might pick one more just so it's a little bit different and we have a little bit of variety going on. And I'm also going to pick this one by AOA. It's one of their velour highlighters, and this is in the shade Oops. So we'll do this one as well. Okay, so this is what we have for blush. This is the NYX palette. This is the Ambient Lighting Trio, if you aren't familiar with it. I just sweep my brush across all of them. This has a glowy powder and a matte powder in it. I usually use the matte, but this glow powder is really pretty for like the subtlest glow from within looks, if you're looking for something like that. This is the bronzer. I don't plan on using the eyeshadows, just the bronzer. I'm tipping over my highlighter here. This is the AOA Oops highlighter. It looks kind of weird. It has very much a consistency like the Physicians Formula highlighters, like they're powder, but they're kind of doughy or whatever. This is the IBY highlighter, and this is the Vanilla Quartz Becca highlighter. Again, this is the What's Up. Then we have the Tarteist Pro, that's what it's called. It's got all the shimmers here and the rest are matte. This would be the Unisex 3 by Ccolor Cosmetics. It's got more of that neutral tone, but very grungy colors. And then on the opposite spectrum, we have the Violet Voss Sugar Crystals palette, which is very colorful and very bright, not grungy at all. And this is everything for my Shop My Stash this week that I will be using. Let me know in the comments below if you have any of these items and what you think of them. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you have a fantastic week. Bye-bye.